We will be recording this session and it will be available to view on our website. If you go to the Academy pages, there is now a tab which is there for the MOOCs. So without further ado, let's talk about the standard modules. So what exactly are standard modules? Well, they're a series of helpful modules that Tricentis has provided that helps you do standard things within your system under test or outside of your system under test that are just basically helping you along. In actual fact, they are customized controls that we've provided for you. So we've customized the controls for you to allow you to do things that are common and useful. How do you get them? Well, when you install Tricentis, you will find there's a Tricentis folder that is installed onto your computer's local drive. It's the Tosca projects, then Tosca Commander, and then you will find the standard TCE, which is the folder standard.tce, and that's where you can find and import your standard modules. You also, though, when you first set up your workspace, if you select use as a workspace template, the Tricentis Tosca will install these and import these modules for you. Not only do they do that, they also create a series of, they also find there's some test cases already in there. And these are sample test cases of how you could use these standard modules. So you might find those are useful in conjunction with the MOOC that we're doing today. So I hear you asking, what are the top 10 standard modules? So in my X Factor moment, in no particular order, the top 10 standard modules that we will be introducing you to today are OpenURL. This allows you to open websites within a browser. Tbox wait. During test execution, some test cases require certain wait times or delays to be observed before continuing with the next test step. Tbox window operation. This sends specific commands to a window. Tbox set buffer. This allows you to create or verify a buffer value. The Tbox evaluation tool allows you to perform comparisons normally outside of what you would be doing within the system under test. Tbox read create files allows you to read and create text files. Tbox delete buffer, you can probably guess this module allows you to remove either individual or existing buffers from both the settings dialog and the settings XML file, so it deletes your buffer. SAP logon allows you to select an SAP system from the SAP logon window. The module SAP login then allows you to log in to using specific data into the SAP login screen. And then finally, Tbox send keys. This module allows keyboard commands to be sent to a window. So basically most of these modules do exactly what they say on the tin. So the description of them tells you what they do. But now let's actually look in detail on how to use these. And I'm going to hand you over to Mark, who will now use Tosca to demonstrate to you all of those top 10 standard modules. So Mark, over to you.
Here we're just going to switch from our presentation onto our Tosca Commander. Here we are in our Tosca Commander. I've set this up with a test case, a set of test cases in a test case folder. First of all, let's go through some modules. In the module section, as you can see, you have the standard modules when you load the standard TCE. And in this, we're going to start with OpenURL. If I go into here, Tbox OpenURL. Tbox OpenURL is located in the Tbox engine, HTML, OpenURL. That doesn't really give a really broad explanation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the column chooser, and I'm going to choose this wonderful thing called description. If you ever have this problem where you're not sure what the module is for or what it does, it's a great way to get a brief overview. It also works if you put your cursor over top of the module or the attribute, that it gives you an overview as well. So right now, the description is, opens a URL with a browser based on the test configuration parameter, browser. If the browser value is unknown or empty, then the default desktop browser is taken. In this case, that would mean that on my computer at the moment, in the screen that you're watching, I normally would use Chrome. But if I'm going to be using the Tosca commander, and most things work best with Internet Explorer, it would be good if I set a test configuration parameter. So in the URL, I'm going to switch to my test case. And in the T-box open URL, you can see I have the URL here. I'm going to choose to type in our demo web shop. Tricentis.com. And there you see our URL is there. On our test configuration parameter, we've chosen browser, Internet Explorer. So if I was to launch this test case, it should open in the test with the test configuration parameter of Internet Explorer. Wonderful. Let me launch this in the Scratchbook, and you can see it open to see that this has worked. There you see it has passed, and it has launched it has opened the URL that we've stated, which is the demo web shop. This can be used to open any URL. As an example, www.tricentis.com. If I open this again, after closing the demo web shop I opened before, I run this in the Scratchbook, it should open us to the regular splash page of Tricentis. In this instance, if I had a wait, it would have waited for the page to load before cutting it to say that it's completed. But I will show you that in a later part of this webinar. So I'm going to go back and replace demo web shop in here. And I'm going to move on to T-box wait that I just stated before. T-box wait is different from the action mode wait on. T-box wait is static. When I say static, I mean it is literally choosing exactly the time that I've chosen. So for this instance, I'm going to choose the duration of 3 seconds. Because this works in milliseconds, that would be about 3,000, or it is 3,000 milliseconds. It automatically changes the data type to numeric for you, so you don't need to change that. As you see, you have 3 seconds for the duration of the wait. If I was to use action mode wait on, it's dynamic in the sense that if I open something, it will wait on something happening before continuing on. For another example, if I was to open an application and I had to wait for the application to open before continuing on, and I used T-box wait and said 3 seconds. If the application takes 5 minutes to open, then the test case would fail because it only waited 3 seconds and then tried to continue on. The difference between wait on is dynamic. It'll wait until it's achieved what it needs to and then continues. T-box wait is just waiting the time that you've asked it to. Next, we're going to move to the T-box window operations. And I'm going to launch this first one back again for the demo web shop to explain this better. So as you can see down here, it says Demo Web Shop Internet Explorer. That is the caption that is there. I'm going to type in just demo. You see that I've put demo lowercase, and this is uppercase. This would fail just because it's case sensitive. I'm going to remedy this situation. And now it will take demo. Then it'll take demo and then perform the action that I've specified. So I haven't really specified Since I haven't actually specified an operation yet, I probably need to add a wildcard first before I add the operation. Before I get too ahead of myself, the caption is what Tosca will be looking for to perform the operation on. The operation is what you want it to do. As an example, an operation can be either close, or minimize, or maximize. To make sure I only choose demo, I'm going to add a wildcard. And then for my operation, I'm going to choose minimize. If I wanted to, I could add more than one operation and it would do them in sequence. But then that would go by really quickly and it wouldn't really serve the purpose. But I'm going to do minimize first and then I will change it after. So I still have the demo web shop open, as you can see. I'm going to run this in the scratchbook. There it has minimized it. I'm going to change it now to maximize and run it again. There it has maximized it. And now I'm going to add minimize. And I'm going to add another one, close. So now it's going to minimize it first and then close it. So here we go. There we see down here, it's no longer lit up. So it has actually closed it after it minimized it. I don't think set buffer was supposed to be part of here, but I will replace it with send keys, just to give you an example. So I'm going to use the new add test step function based in Tosca 10. And in here, I'm going to choose tbox send keys. I will explain send keys properly later, and I will come back to this. But as you can see, it has something to do with me sending keys. We'll come back. Let's move on to buffer. In the modules section, in the tbox automation tools, in the buffer operations, I have delete buffer and set buffer. As you can see in the description, delete buffer, well, it deletes the buffer. Set buffer sets or verifies the content of a buffer. Interesting how that works. I'm also going to show you the evaluation tool, which is in expression evaluation, which is used to do It says Boolean evaluation or mathematical expressions. I will probably not do something so complicated because I want to make sure you get it properly the first time. And then before I forget, I should probably show you guys the read and write in the tbox section. Let's go to File Operations. We have tbox read and create file, which either creates a text file or reads the contents from a text file. So here we are in our set buffer. Here I'm going to create the name of my buffer. Let's call it example. Because I'm setting a buffer, I can choose what I would like to set it. So how about I set it as 99? Good thing to note about this is I can actually set more than one buffer that it creates or that it sets, because this is dynamic. So if I was to type something else here, it would create another buffer and I could put in another value. But for this example, I'll leave it at just one buffer that I'm setting. Next, with our tbox evaluation tool, I'm going to evaluate a buffer. So luckily, we just created or set a buffer. So I'm going to use an expression, buffer, the example. And I would like to make sure that it validates or evaluates that the buffer size or the number that is buffered is less than 100. Automatically, it will change the action mode to verify, which is wonderful. So you don't need to actually worry about that. So I'm going to run this first one in the Scratchbook. And there it says it has set the buffer. If we look in login info, is the buffer has been created with the name example, and the value has been set to 99. If I want to confirm that that's actually there, I can go into Projects, Settings, Engine or Engine, depending on which part of the world you're from. And there you can see example is the buffer name, and the value is 99. It's already there. Now that this buffer has been created, you can see now here in this expression, I can now validate that it is less than 100. I'm going to run this next. And there you see, it has been evaluated to be true that the buffer is less than 100. The next step of this is to read or create a file. I don't think I need to read a file. I think I might create one. So how I will create one is I'm going to choose the path. The path I would like to choose is on my C drive. I'm going to put it into my temp folder. To confirm, I'm going to go into my temp folder and make sure that that's there and that it matches. C:\\temp. Just to be safe, I'm going to copy and paste it here so it matches. For the file, let's call it test. As we have looked here, the file is going to be named test, and it's going to be created in the temp folder. What should we put in for the text? Let's put in the buffer that we've just evaluated. The buffer is 99, and it's called example. Let's put the text inside as that buffer. Not as in just buffer, but just the evaluated number. We'll use an expression to show that. For the sake of not putting too much information into this or confusing many of you, I'm not going to explain encoding, because encoding has to do with a language that you're encoding it into. An overwrite has to do with overwriting the file multiple times. If you put your cursor over the name, it should tell you exactly what it does, but it doesn't really tell you how to do it properly. It's best that we keep this for another move. But as you can see, buffer is set, buffer is here and has been evaluated, and then this number that's been in this buffer evaluated should then appear in a text file in temp. So now I'm going to run this next. It was successful. Let's check that folder. Look, temp folder has created a file named text. I'm going to open it in the notepad, and wonderful. It says 99, just like the example. I'm going to close this and delete this. And I'm going to move on to our tbox delete buffer. Tbox delete buffer quite literally deletes the buffer. But it's different from Tosca 9.3 than it is in Tosca 10. In Tosca 9.3, it actually deletes the content in the buffer, but leaves the buffer. In Tosca 10, it deletes the whole buffer, including the name and the value, not just the value. The good part is, in 9.3, it used to, in the handling, get rid of all of the buffers if not configured right, or not configured specifically, whereas in 10, you can specify the exact buffer you would like to delete. I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to choose the buffer example for it to be deleted at the end of this test case. So to recap, we have this setting a buffer of 99, then it being evaluated. 99 is less than 100 and being verified. Then we have our temp folder being created, a file named test, with the text inside being 99 to follow the example, buffer. Then once that is saved, it will delete the buffer from my system, or my system under test. Once that is completed, it'll say that it's complete, and then we can verify it both in the system and via text. Here, I'm going to run this in the Scratchbook. And I can see right here that it has verified. Tbox set buffer. Buffer has had the example name and has been set to the value of 99. Tbox expression has evaluated that 99 is less than 100. I'm very glad that 99 is less than 100. It's missing one digit. It's only 3 digits anyways. It has created the file. It has passed. We can confirm that by looking in the temp folder. Temp folder. Open this notebook or notepad. There it is. It has made it successfully. And then it has deleted the buffer. Let's make sure. And we'll make sure we'll go back into project, settings, engine, and here in the buffer, I don't see example or the value of 99. So we've successfully created a buffer, evaluated it, saved it to a file, and then deleted it from our system under test. So in case I run this again, let me just delete this file because we don't have an overwrite command in right now, but it's there. That is buffer, and then you've understood the demo web shop and the instances and that it can create. I'm going to remove this close from the operations in Windows operations because we will come back to this soon. I'm going to move on to my SAP example. And in here, we are going to use the application of SAP and automate parts of it. Not really, just mostly the sign-in. Sign-in, login, and you get to see wait actually in action. So first I need to choose my SAP logon path. So I've already gone and found it in my program files. So I'm going to copy this path and paste this path here. You have to make sure that you put in the exe as well. So SAP log on.exe, and then I'm going to confirm that that is right by going back, clicking on it, and trying to type it in. SAP logon.exe, and just to be extra sure, I'm going to copy this and paste it into this. There I have it. There's the path. It's going to go program files, SAP front end, SAP GUI, and SAP logon.exe. So this is stating that it's going to launch the program from this, from going straight to the exe and launching. Next, I will want it to choose my connection type. Connection type I would like to use is the IDES intern. So this will then launch the application and choose the user and then stop there. So I'm going to run this in the Scratchbook so you can see how that looks. And there you see it's taken us to the login page, and it has opened the log on. So now I'm going to close this, and minimize any other screens that might be in our way, just to make the screen a little cleaner. I'm going to move on to logging in. The logging in information I've already put in, and I've made sure that the password is correct. The password in this case, once you type in the password, it stars it out, and it stays with the data type of password. It's grayed out, so you can't really change it, or can't change it at all, but this is for security. So there's no need to worry if you type in a nice password and all of a sudden it disappears. It doesn't actually disappear, it's just for security with the stars. Next, for language, I'm going to choose EN, or type in EN. EN stands for English, and then the X for entering it. So let's run these two in the Scratchbook so you can see that it will open SAP, select the IDES intern, and then log in. It has said that successfully logged in, and we can see it here. It actually had logged us in under a actual user. I'm going to close these two. Log out, yes. Next, we're going to go to the toolbar for SAP. I realized that I should probably have left the other two open, so I will re-log in, and I will show you why I should have. So it has re-logged me in, and this toolbar, SAP toolbar, that we are going to be automating next is up here. But unless I had re-signed in and stayed in the login, you wouldn't have seen where to type in the translation transaction code. These long words, transaction codes. So in this transaction code, the transaction code will be typed in this text box, and then it will click on enter. The way that it's been set up in Tosca to do. The transaction code is there, and it's set to input, so it'll input it into the transaction code area that's already been specified, and then it will click on enter, or press the enter button via input. I'm going to now close these and run the three pieces together so you can see that it logs me in. It logs on, it logs me in, and then in the toolbar it enters the code as well as opens up the next part. There you see that it's completed. I can view the results, that everything is green, that it has passed. Green doesn't always mean that it has passed. It's always good to make sure, after you've seen green in the scratchbook, to open what you've automated and make sure it's actually where it needs to be. So right now, it's not showing the purchase order, but that shows me that that just shows me that it doesn't like me and wants me to run it again. It's just easy to do. I'm just going to close all windows and log off. I'm going to run log on, log in, toolbar, run it scratchbook. There it is, log me in, and there it's put in its transaction code and then finished. As I said before, it gave me green arrows, so it said that it completed it, but it actually didn't show me. So it actually didn't complete. So it's always good that if it's done running in the scratchbook that you check it. There I am at this next area for the purchase area. I'm going to close this and explain the next part. So now we've seen how to log in, log on, and type in a transaction code. Back to T-box wait. We explained this before, how it is a static wait for a certain amount of time for something to load. Because we're actually waiting for it to load, it takes a little bit of time to load. I'm going to add 4 seconds to make sure that we actually see that it stops before moving on. Next, we have send keys. And I think I added this into the demo web shop before, but didn't explain it. Send keys literally sends a key from your keyboard to the system under test. In doing so, it either can bring up something or close something, or automate to do a certain key command that you would normally do on your computer. In this instance, I would like to put in the keys F4 to open a drop-down menu. So I'm going to use the mini expression for this of F4 equals curly. Most people would require a caption, but in this case we don't, because it will be already open in the focus of the screen that will be in focus. Screen that will be open will be the one that's in focus, so it doesn't require a caption to automate specifically. Next, we have another T-box wait. I'm going to make it wait another 4 seconds, just to make sure that you have been able to see it. And yes, it already changes it in the data mode or data type to numeric. And then I'm going to stop there and let you see how this works. That it waits after it has logged in. Go log in again. Wait a couple of seconds before completing. I'm going to run this in Scratchbook. Waiting. There, it had 1 cent keys, and now it's waiting again. There, it's gone green, saying that it's completed, and I have actually seen it. It's actually gone straight to here and pressed F4. Wonderful. If I want to close this, I can either click away or press escape. I'm going to press escape to close that. So I'm going to press F4 to open it again and leave it open. Come back to Tosca. You can see it waited the 4 seconds each time, and the send keys were sent. On this next set of send keys, I'm going to set this to escape. Because this is case sensitive, making everything small may not work, so I'm actually going to make this all capitals. And then I'm going to run this specifically since we're still open on the right page. There, it has already closed it, and that was super quick. So now if I'm going to close this and log off, I'm going to run up to that point so you see it waiting each time as it goes through. So log in. So log in. Log on, SAP, wait, send bars, wait, send keys again. I know that this is going to fail, and I actually made sure it would fail, because when I was selecting what I wanted to do, I actually selected them out of order. So instead of selecting log on and then log in, I selected log in and then log on. What happened is it tried running them in order of the way I selected them, not in the way that it's set up in the test case. If I was to run it from the test case level, it runs from the top module down, but in this case, I had selected the ones I wanted to go in the order that I wanted. So because of that, it had failed because it tried logging in when I hadn't logged on. Great example. I'm going to show you it done properly this time. Let's go log on, log in, SAP toolbar, wait, send keys, wait, and another send keys. So it should open the program, sign in, send my transaction code, wait so I know that it's already signed in, open a menu, wait another 4 seconds before escaping that menu. Here we go. There's the first wait. There it opens. That's a send key. It's waiting again. Send key again, and it's now waiting again. And there it has completed. Wonderful. And we can see that it has completed. We have one more wait, and then we have a start program. So in this wait, we're going to make it another 4 seconds just to make sure that you can see everything. But on start program can be used to either start a program or end a program. In this instance, we are going to end the program. How we are going to use that is we're going to use a command line with the path typed in as task kill. for input. With task kill, it will kill whatever task is running at that moment. The argument I'm going to set for that is image name sap logon.exe, and then I can put the argument of y, but y is for yell, and that wouldn't really help us, so I should probably just put f for force. So we're going to force the image name of this to kill right away. If I had to show you this in the command, it would look like that's the way it would look, and it would close the application right away. At the moment, I wouldn't press enter because I am running on Tosca, so it actually closed Tosca, because that is actually what's in focus right now. So I will close this here, and I will use it properly in this other one. So since it's already open here, I'm just going to run task kill, and there it has closed the task completely. Started task kill with the arguments of image name, sap logon.exe, and force immediately. So we have all of our steps put together. Let's run it all together so you can see it from start to finish. We're going to log in, log on, and log in. Send our transaction code. We're going to wait. Then we are going to press F4. We're going to wait again. We're going to press escape. Wait again. And task kill. Beautiful running. I realize I actually haven't shown you where all of these modules are. Before I forget, here we are in our module section, T-Box Engines, SAP. Here are all the descriptions. We have SAP log in and log on with images to show you where they would be, as well as the toolbar. They would be in the T-Box X Engines, or X Engines, whichever you prefer saying. And then we have our processes in the automation tools for T-Box Start Engine, the arguments that you can put in containers.
Okay, Mark, thank you very much. A very concise and very excellent description of the standard modules there. We have had a number of questions come in. Thank you for those. We've been furiously typing away trying to answer them as best as I possibly can. Please excuse any spelling mistakes. I'm not a very good typist. However, some of the questions I'd like to bring up for you, Mark, please keep sending them in, by the way. If a good one comes in, we'll try to answer it as well. So one of the best questions we've had is, can you add multiple buffers to the text file? Yes, you can. Mark, could you just briefly pull up Tosca for me?
Of course I can.
And we will show you how you can do this. It's very, very simple. So if you could go to the module where we were adding the buffer. Yep, so to the recreate file. Okay, so if you wish to add multiple buffers into the text file, you can easily do so. But what you need to do is simply just read and put multiple buffers in there. And in between, you put the plus symbol. Obviously, we don't have these buffers at the moment, but yes, you just see the multiple, you would do them like this. and we don't have these buffers, so we can't actually run this as it's just a demonstration, and so on and so forth. And you can add more and more buffers, and they would be added to your text file. So yes, you can do multiple ones. So if you had 25 buffers, you could run them, or you could do this. We've also had a request if we could show the closing of a browser using Operation Close in Tbox. Yeah, sure. Mark, would you like to just quickly demonstrate closing in closing within a HTML, so closing the demo web shop for us?
Sure. So here in Windows Operations, I'm going to get rid of the send keys. I have minimize here. I'm going to choose to close and make the wait a little bit longer just to make sure that it's seen. And I'm going to launch this. Demo web shop. Wait for a second and then close.
Wonderful. Could we also do that with the task kill method as well?
Of course we can. How we would do this is we would go to the image name, we would add Tbox start program. Say I change this now to normal, or actually, yep, get rid of this altogether. Path, task kill, with the arguments of
iExplore.exe.
I'm just going to confirm of the right. Okay.
Sorry, Mark, put you on the spot here.
It's okay. Should know my computers as well. Explore.exe, image name with force. Let's run this again. There opens the demo web shop. Task kill closes it.
Okay, so that's two ways of closing it. One nicely and one rather forcefully. Does the send keys does the send keys work within HTML, or is it just an SAP function?
It can actually work in HTML. How we'll do that is I'll go back to this demo web shop thing. I'll sign in to our training username. And in here, I will go to our account, to addresses, delete. I've just created a pop-up. So I'm going to go here. I'm just going to create a send key, random send key. Let's close these other ones so you can see. So just the send key. I'm going to choose that I would like to cancel, not press OK. So here it's selected already in the blue as OK, but I actually want to cancel it in this case, just to be fun. So I'm going to go into keys, and I'm going to put in quotations, open curly brackets, tab, close curly brackets, close quotations. I'm going to add a tilde for the enter. Now if I run this, you saw that it moved to the cancel and then pressed it.
Could you run that one again so that we could see that again?
Sure.
It was quite quick.
Yeah, that was really quick. So I'm actually going to add a T-box wait at the end of that before we go. So let's go T-box wait. And now I'm going to make this 5 seconds to make sure that you can fully see this is done. So I go back to the web shop, click on delete, created a dialog. Tosca, let's do send keys, and I'm going to wait so you see that what it's done. That was quick as well.
That's okay. We've put you on the spot here, so things go wrong on live television, as it were. One question, just to give you a break here for a second, that I can answer for you.
Yeah.
We've had a question saying, is send keys the best way to deal with pop-ups? Well, ideally, you'd always be wanting to scan the pop-up and identifying the control. This would be a very identifying the control, so that you wanted the cancel button, you would scan that pop-up using XScan or other technologies if necessary. You would then identify that control that you wish to automate and use Tosca and automate that control. That would be a much more stable method and a much more secure method of doing it. The send keys often are used as just a workaround where it isn't possible to scan, or it's always possible to scan the technology and identify it, but it's not a simple way of doing it. So the send keys is a workaround, but they can be they're not the stablest and most secure method of dealing with a pop-up or dealing with a control.
So would you say that you would use those in situations where you have limited abilities to customize?
If you wanted to avoid customizing, because obviously if you did have that control popped up, you could always customize. But say you were looking, it was a control that didn't appear very often, maybe the effort made to customize it exceeds the use, so it's not a control. That pop-up only appears once. They only want to identify and automate that control in, say, 1 test case out of 1,000. Going to the effort of customizing it probably doesn't make sense. So send key in that case might be the better method and the better approach of actually dealing with it. So yes. One question that's come up, if it was asked if you could just run over briefly the difference between the delete buffer in 9 and 10 and Tosca 10. Because we have a question that they weren't sure what the difference between the two is, because there is some difference between the two versions.
So delete buffer, in this case, this is Tosca 10 we're using. As you can see, of the beautiful ribbons we have here. Tosca 10 deletes the whole buffer, but it's in the handling you can choose what you want to delete. So as an example, we've chosen this buffer, example, to delete, and we've deleted the whole buffer, including the name and the value. So here, I'm going to run just the set buffer quickly, just to create a buffer. In 9.3, the latest one we've used, you would see example 9 is there. But if you went to delete buffer, you delete all of the buffers. So instead of just deleting example 99, you delete discount. Example 1, example 2, order number, number of orders, blue jeans, subtotal. You delete all of those buffers just from that one action. Here it makes it a little easier to only delete the one that you would like to delete. Doing so means that you now can reuse these buffers for other test cases, so you don't need to continually buffer things over and over and over again. You have a more controlled use of your buffers.
Cool, thank you very much. One last thing, we got quite a few people asking about the rather awesome add test step functionality that you seem to be using in Tosca 10. So you're not dragging and dropping your modules, but you seem to be using a search method. Could you just briefly describe those to us and just show how you're doing it? Because we've had a few people asking how you're actually managing to do this.
So in Tosca 9.3, you may have noticed you'd have to do one of these where I wanted start T-box start program. I have to click on it and drag it in. Tosca 10, they wanted to make it really nice for us and made something called a fuzzy search or a test step or an add test step for us. How this works is you can either right click on your test case, see it right here, add test step, which is wonderful, and it creates something like a fuzzy search where depending on what you type in, it pops up for you to use. So I click on it, it has my fuzzy search, and then I can type in whatever I need, whether it's library, multiple values, Selenium, SAP, and it has all my SAP modules set up here, whether they be imported ones or actual ones from the T-box engines. All available in there. It's either done by right-clicking and choosing the Add Test Step, as you can see here, or if you click on it and hold down Control and press T.
Wonderful. Okay, and we're almost out of time, and this actually does bring us on to another thing that we've got for you. Oh dear, sorry, that's my fault. I pressed the wrong button. Yep. That actually is the next webinar that we will be running, which will be in 2 weeks' time. We will actually be going into more detail about Tosca 9.3 and the differences between Tosca 10. Essentially, one of those things that we'll be talking about in more depth will be the add test step function, plus all of the other functionalities that have been added to Tosca 10 from the 9. A lot of good new functionalities, a new look. It's a really good webinar if you're thinking about moving to 10 or want to decide whether or not you should move to 10. So that will be next week, in 2 weeks' time, March 8th at 2 times, 11 Central European time and 5:30 Central European time. So, do you need more help? If you do need more help, please contact support@support.tricentis.com. They are there to help you pretty much all the time. You can always contact us at training if there's a training issue. Please do, academy@tricentis.com. You can look at the knowledge base, loads of articles there you would need, plus the online manual. And I'm going to offer you one extra thing here. For those of you that have attended the webinar, we're going to be sending you an email. Within that email, there is going to be a voucher to allow you to take the Automation Specialist Level 1 training free of charge. So you'll be able to take that, look out for that email, log into your support portal and use that voucher to gain yourself a free Tricentis course. So if you want to do more, you want to get your certificates, you want to add to your CV, do so because you will have a free method of doing so. So thank you very much. Follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter, and have a wonderful evening, a wonderful day, and hopefully we will speak to you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you and goodbye.